Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome to episode number
4.
four.
Four.
It's full ready.
I'm going to touch this thing over here that you can't see to make sure that stays on. Because we're so high tech.
What are we going to talk about today, Jace?
We're going to talk about whiskey, or specifically Scotch whisky regions, geographical regions that don't really make much sense geographically.
So I purchase a plane ticket and say I want to go to the airport and say I want to go to a main whiskey region. They probably wouldn't know what your destination
I mean,
is.
if you bought it from a Scottish airline, then maybe.
Yeah.
No, because, for example, Campbeltown.
Oh, you're starting off with that one. Okay.
Where is Campbeltown? I know where it is because I researched and I looked at the map and I know it's the sticky outy bit in the southwest of Scotland.
Yeah.
Highlands, kind of Scotland. Yeah, I mean, they're not the typical kind of Glasgow, Edinburgh, Inverness, Aberdeen.
But so what are they? How many are there to begin with? I think there's already a debate in how many there are.
My research says 5.
Yeah, so there's mine.
But I've heard about another.
And I've read and I've seen it, when I want to go online, I want to purchase a whiskey and put the region in parentheses, they will name sometime the 6th one as being, legitimate 6th region.
I'm interested if I was 6th one, and they're going to be the same.
Okay, I'll reveal it.
Okay, so just give us the list. Give us the 5.
Okay, we can alternate. I'll start with one and you go for one. Okay, Highland.
Lowlands.
Campbeltown.
Speyside.
And Islay.
That's right. And what's your 6th?
You just named 5, so the 6th would be islands.
Exactly.
And by islands,
and
what islands are we talking about?
The contentiousness of it is not that I actually researched it, but I was thinking, did I just misunderstand people's accent and pronunciation of Islay? And I thought they said islands, but
they did say islands.
They did say islands.
They did say islands.
So like Sky, etc.
Island, Sky, Mull, Jura.
Yeah.
And I think there's a new one that we discovered.
There's a few islands.
Well, there's one that has a distillery on it called Benbecula.
Okay.
Remember? So anyway, there's islands, but not Islay is an island, but it's not part of the islands region.
But the 6th region of islands, does it include Islay?
No. That's what I'm saying. It does not. But the reason, so the purists will say there's only 5 regions in those islands that we just named. Skye, Mull, Jura, and others are actually part of the larger Highland.
I love the fact that we're both discussing the intricacies of Scottish whisky regions. You're even wearing a Scottish rugby top. None of us have anything to do with Scotland.
That's true.
So please feel free to comment, be kind, but yeah, if we're wrong, just tell us. Happy to learn more. We're not here to educate. We're here to discuss.
I haven't even set foot in Scotland ever. Have you? You probably have.
Yes, a couple of times.
Or for what?
I went once for work, which ended up like a bit of a party. That was in Glasgow, East Kilbride, and I went for golf to St Andrews.
To St Andrews,
5
for all places.
Yeah, and that was good.
And in which?
Oh, and I've been to Edinburgh for the rugby.
You got to Murrayfield
for the 6 Nations, yeah, and we won.
we.
But yeah. So, what are the differences between these regions? Why are they important? Why differentiate Highlands, Lowlands when it comes to whiskey, etc.? Going back to our previous episode, where we talked about peat and how important location is for the peat that is used. I mean, that's the perfect example. Just barley, peat, malt. Where you get that stuff, the temperature changes, the landscape differences, they're all going to have a different impact on the final taste profile.
Mm.
And
the profile, yes, they all have all these regions, except maybe Highland, which does not really have a typical profile, but all of the others kind of do.
Highlands, well, we'll start with Highlands. The largest of the whiskey regions. It encompasses the islands also, apart from Islay. And perhaps its most distinguishable feature in terms of whiskey is its diversity.
True.
I mean, full of fruity flowers, lots of
Some can
rich
be fruity, some
character.
whiskey that produce
Yeah.
fruity, some will not be, some will be peated, some will not be. Some
You can get light. You could say it's very light whiskey, but then you also got some kind of salty malts in there as well, because there's a huge coastline that is part of the region. So yeah, hugely diverse. It's difficult to pinpoint a Highland profile, really.
But we said, I think, is it parallel with this? Am I going in the wrong direction? I don't know, but I'll mention it anyway. We said there's the islands, thick region, so-called region, but it doesn't include island. But then there's the Highland that does include, actually, well, it doesn't include, but Speyside, which is the next region I think we should talk about, is kind of an enclave. How do you pronounce that?
It's like a French word, isn't it?
Yeah.
You should know.
But how do you pronounce it in English?
Enclave?
You don't even know.
I also
It's an enclave.
English.
Inside or within Highland. It's not
That's right.
separate. It's inside of Highland.
You may just backtrack a tiny bit. You may remember I had an anecdote from the Who is Pete episode.
Mm-hmm.
And this has something to do with the Highlands region. So Speyside, you're right, is like a little area inside the Highland region. Both Speyside and Highlands have what's called Highland peat. And Highland peat, typically 1 to 3 ppms.
Oh, the very subtle, don't even know it's there, but you kind of...
Even more so. Remember the components that we talked about? Fennels, cresol, guaiacol, the Senegal, which is only aromatic, has no taste flavor. Mm-hmm. This is what's in Highland peat. So it's 1 to 3 ppms. Mm-hmm. And even though it's so low, doesn't matter. You never taste it.
Awesome. I didn't know that. Yeah, this is super interesting.
And that's also true in Speyside, because, as you mentioned, it is its own whiskey region geographically in terms of the landscape. It sits within the Highland landscape.
So you're saying then the peat profile of the Speyside peated whiskey would be similar to that of the Highland?
If they go with the Highland peat.
Yeah. What they call the Highland peat. Because you can have coastal distilleries in Highland,
exactly.
maritime waters.
So yeah, examples of Highlands distilleries. Kind of
we have to apologize because we may not pronounce them the right way, but Tomatin or Tomatin. I think Tomatin is more.
We had that recently, and I don't know how to say it. Tomatin,
Deanston. I wrote down.
I've got Dalmore.
There's one. I got Ardmore.
Glenmorangie.
Oh, I had that one too. Irish. I mean, there's a bunch, right?
I've got to say this one because the Whiskey Club in Madrid, I've just gone there. Ben Nevis.
I am.
They just went to the distillery.
And one of my personal favorites, a recent one, I think it's only a few years old. Well, more than that, but it started producing whiskey not long ago, is Ardnamurchan. Ardnamurchan. I don't know. All of these.
Ardnamurchan, yeah, I like that. So that's Highlands. So how can we say it? Doesn't have a distinct profile. Its profile is its diversity. Its peated Highland profile is very much on the nose. You're not going to taste much of it, but it's still very, very small. The largest of the regions.
And we talked about the islands being a part of it. There's one island, group of islands that we didn't mention, which is super important actually. They're not on the west side, like where all the others that we talked about are.
They're on the east side?
No, north. Orkney. And I mentioned it. We'll know why a little bit later.
Okay. Let's come back to that one. So which region we're going to next?
So I said Speyside. We talked about Speyside.
Let's do the Speyside. I'll continue that page.
Speyside has a distinct profile. Not that all whiskey, I don't know actually, all whiskeys made in Speyside absolutely do share the same profile. Or generally speaking, a Speyside whiskey will tend, to present a profile that is higher concentration, elegant, fruity, some spiciness, people say.
Yeah.
So, the smooth character of Speyside whiskies is well renowned.
And for that reason, I think you mentioned the word elegant is because it's that kind of, wouldn't say accessible, but very relaxing experience. You're getting a lot of depth or complexity, but it's in that velvety, smooth experience. But interestingly, going back just to the name, do you know why it's called Speyside?
Oh, yeah, I think I do. Because of the rivers,
Yeah.
the central rivers.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most densely populated whiskey region in the world. Now, I thought that was going to be Islay. I don't know why, because there's like 10 distilleries on the islands. No, it's Speyside.
But do you know, I do not know. Do you know how many distilleries they have?
I didn't get that far.
It's got to be much more than we think.
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. The typical profile, you get some peat in there, full of fruit, apples. I've seen tasted apples,
Yeah.
some pear.
It is sweet, some like honey kind of sweet also, distinctive.
You're right, spices, lots of different kinds of spices, and very, very typically, not always, typically matured in ex-sherry casks. Or what did we say the word for sherry?
And in terms of famous distilleries in Speyside, are there any?
There's the uber famous one.
Which one?
Macallan.
The Macallan.
Sorry, the Macallan. That's so cool. The Macallan.
Can you name others?
Yeah, the one which when I was a kid growing up or a teenager was like, the whiskey, Glenfiddich.
Well, there's a bunch of blends. Glenallachie.
Glenallachie, yeah.
But a bunch of blends. If you see a whiskey with the name starting with Glen, it's probably from. I mean, there's a few in Highland too. A lot of them in Speyside. I don't know. Maybe I'm just inventing a rule and it's not true. But I've seen a lot of Glens in Speyside. Is that one?
Oh yeah.
Lakewood.
I know you like Lakewood.
Aberlour. I think Aberlour is
I've never tried it.
Next door. I think it's the same. I mean, it's the name of the village. It's the name of this village in Macallan. Aberlour.
Nice. Dalwhinnie?
And
I've never tried it. I've seen it there on the shelves.
It has this commercial. It's like Glenfiddich and all these.
And Dalmore as well. It looks elegant on the shelf. Is it being pretentious and commercial, or is it actually
probably full of colors?
We should try it.
Just like the Slavs. Okay, we've covered Highland and Speyside, and we'll talk about the islands. So what next?
Lowlands, which I don't have much to say about it, except what I learned, and perhaps why I don't have much to say about it, is it's one of the most upcoming regions where a lot of the new distilleries are, the new make whiskies are.
Like new distilleries in big cities, like in Glasgow they have, or Edinburgh.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ones I've got a special affinity for, Portobello vertical distillery in the heart of Edinburgh.
Like a tall building.
Yeah. So instead of like a
super impressive
kind of camped out farm distillery, bourbon up vertical. So cool.
Yeah. But Lowlands, so what are they know for me, it wasn't a region that I was particularly attracted to. Felt like a boring region producing boring whiskey, but I don't think that's the case actually. But it is lighter, right? It's a lighter type of profile that you will get out of lowland whiskey, maybe more grassy also in terms of flavors and floral notes, a little bit of sweetness, nothing really too aggressive, all very mellow.
Well, I guess we'll see as well with these new distilleries what kind of profiles come out of them, because they could entirely just change that profile map as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember one of the examples of the distilleries in Lowlands is something we tried recently was Bladach.
Yeah, I would know too.
Very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, very good quality.
Yeah,
well made. But there's also like you talked about the new distilleries, like sort of leaf. But there's also like a very famous one that has closed for a long time now. And so if you find one of them, the distillery probably costs upwards of £500, yens, I should say. Roseback. Have you ever heard of Roseback? No. Super famous Roseback, but from my dad's generation. If you come across about Roseback, I'm going to try it one day.
Another one? Auchentoshen?
Yes. I didn't put because I didn't want to pronounce it. You do. Glenkinchie. This is a glen that's not...
no, yeah, I have it. Yeah. King's Barnes, which also has a great golf course.
Yeah.
Not on the distillery.
And so we're now, Lowland, we're in the southern part of whiskey making Scotland. And to the west of that, we've got the other two regions.
Which one are we going to talk about first?
Campbeltown, because you can talk about Campbeltown first, like the first one you named in this episode.
I mean, honestly, it's the one I didn't know anything about. Islay was obviously like an island, the island about Islay. Highlands, obviously, high up, Lowlands. So, yeah, Campbeltown, I had no idea where it was.
Yeah, and I made a mistake. I think we should have started talking about Islay because Campbeltown is kind of the way their profile is described is a mix between the touch of lowland smoothness, smoothness, lightness, and fruitiness, mixed with the Islay profile that we talked about.
Very much so on the coast. Yeah, as I said,
so the
sticky outy bit.
But the Islay smokiness in particular. So
Yeah.
you mix the Islay smokiness with the lowland fruitiness, and this is kind of the Campbell.
It's also very close to Islay as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So that means the landscape is going to be very similar.
It's like a little peninsula, isn't it? Or
yeah, it's the sticky outy peninsula and southwest, and then Islay is an island just a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, on the map it looks really close. But
probably if you want to get to Islay, do you go from Campbeltown? I don't know. But that's a trip we need to take, and maybe we can shoot an episode from that.
oh,
That's special.
But yeah, you're right. My notes from Campbeltown are can be varied, but notes of smoke, definitely. Fruit, vanilla. Again, very similar to Islay. Strong, very rich, deep, complex, a little bit light. But yeah, they're very, very mixed bag, but in a good way.
There are not many distilleries there, or at least
There's not.
I think less than before even now. So there's very few nowadays.
I mean, there's 3 that I've heard of, which I think is actually 2.
Yeah.
One is a separated release from the other.
Yeah.
So I've got Springbank.
Yeah, which is actually super well known. Excellent.
And I think the Longrow was actually
Longrow is a heated version of
the Illinois,
Glen Scotia.
but there's a lot of releases in those distilleries. You can get a lot of different Glen Scotias and Springbanks. I mean, different ages, finishes. Yeah, there's a huge amount.
Yeah.
So what's the last one?
Oh, last region.
Islay.
And
And it's Islay, not Islay, not Islay, not Islay. Islay.
So Islay, we talked a lot about Islay on a previous episode, if you recall.
We did, because it's typically its profile is peat
Peat.
or heavily peated, fiery.
Yeah, so the kind of the smokiness is typical. I mean, you drink a smoky whiskey, you think of Islay first.
Yeah, and as we discussed, I mean, peat and smoke don't have to be dominant. They can be subtle. They can be foundational, a foundational layer to other flavors. Like the tasting we had on the last episode, optimal. I mean, 169 ppms, yet it didn't I think I had more orange and honey than I had smoke.
Yeah.
So just a huge scale and scope for complexity and depth.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the profile, right? Islay is different kinds of peatiness. The maritime one with more iodine notes and seaweed and whatnot, and the medicinal one and the smoke fire notes. All these kind of peat notes are typical of Islay. Doesn't mean that they cannot exist in other coming from other distilleries, but typical of Islay.
And of course, because they're burning peat as a fuel, it's the original way that Scotch was made, was distilled. They used peat as a way to fire the kilns. So it was a fuel source. It is a fossil fuel. And how many distilleries are there now? Because it's always a thing, isn't it? Like you pick up a bottle and the person's having it to you and say, oh, this is the 8th distillery of Ireland.
I think that's 10. But,
there's 10. Yeah,
I think I did research. I could be wrong.
I know of 10.
Because I know there's very recently there's a few that Kilchoman is fairly recent.
That's one I've recently done a tasting on. That's the 9th.
That's nice. I know that Ivanhoe opened after that. And that's very recently. Actually, they produced their first whiskey, I think, in a year or 2 ago. So Ivanhoe must be the 10th in my calculation.
Holland actually is the only farm distillery on Ireland. Typically, distilleries were made on farms. You know, you already had some equipment, you already had some scale. Mm-hmm. And it's the only one that's still actually working farm.
Because that's one of the most basic ones. So they're going back to the way it used to be.
Yeah. It's been 20, 30 years.
But just we're talking about distilleries. Can we name them all?
Well, I don't know if we can name them. We say Kilcommon and Arnold.
Buchlari, Ardbeg.
Yeah.
Colilla,
Colilla,
Bunhaven,
Bullhaven,
Lagavulin,
Lagavulin,
Lefroy,
Lefroy.
and then
I've got
which one is
the first one,
Beaumont.
Beaumont,
Yes.
and
And
we're missing one.
yeah, I'm missing one. Maybe it's on there. No.
No,
If you know for a fact that Kilcoman is the reminder.
no, I had Arbe, Kilcoman, Lefroy, Beaumont.
There are viewers, listeners, comments.
Yeah.
Which one are we forgetting? You can just chat GPT.
I really feel like we're going to kick ourselves in that. So that's the whiskey regions. Huge scope and scale, flavors. I mean, why do the regions exist? I think it's like a cool brand as well. It's a good branding thing where you can mark that this is a Highlands whiskey or this is a Lowlands, this is Campbeltown. Because you haven't heard of those words in a map context geographically.
Right.
So it's very specific to the whiskey market and Scotch.
But are you saying it's a consequence of the regions existing that it's cool for marketing, or do you think that's the reason why they exist? And was this whole purpose
I have
was
no idea actually who came up with those regions specific to whiskey, commercial whiskey sales. But the fact that it's unique to whiskey is very, very cool.
Because other whiskey producing countries in Ireland, just next door, right? They don't have similar concepts of regions there.
I don't believe so.
I can't name it.
I mean, in Wales we don't.
It's a unique.
Yeah.
It's first.
I mean, the fact Scotch, that's one thing. And then you've got another layer. It's like, oh, regions. Because you've never heard of them geographically, you actually research, oh, what's that region? Oh, there's this whiskey. Oh, that sounds good. And you end up buying something just because you've been forced into some research. So it's commercially also really efficient.
Well, it's time to try the whiskey from those regions.
I am looking forward to it.
There's a reason why I put an emphasis on the islands we forgot, Orkney.
Ooh.
Because this one is a single malt Scotch whiskey from Orkney Islands. They don't name the distillery, but everybody knows what it is.
So, and it actually says here, and as you can see, region, Highland. It's very specific.
Oh, look at this. John from Cast reference, 30, but this is something, 18 years of age.
18. Bottled in 2018. So this is...
so there's only two, I think there's still only two distilleries on the...
One of 395 bottles. Cast reference 30. Yeah.
And from Berry Brothers and Rudd. Berry Brothers and Rudd. I think it's a shop in London. And they're an independent bottler as well. They have lots of casks of super interesting.
How much is this? It's bottled at 52.7. So again,
proper whiskey. So Orkney is going to be lightly peated. With Orkney peat, there's only two distilleries on Orkney. There's Highland Park and Scapa.
Highland Park on Orkney?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
And Scapa. You heard of Scapa? Scapa Flow, naval base for the British.
It's not about whiskey.
Well, Scapa is...
I feel that.
Where Scapa Flow was. So, anyway, so it's not Scapa. This is Highland Park, 18 years. Bottled by Berry Brothers and Rudd.
Can we stop looking at it and actually try it? I like this color. It's pale, but it has a golden hue to it. It was naturally colored. Light?
Yeah, light. Did you tell?
Light.
I can tell that there's peat and was peat.
Light, very light. They're definitely aromatic.
It's one of my favorites. I think you can tell from how much remains.
It's very fresh. Oh, wow.
What's for that?
Interesting finish. I'm going to have some more to understand it. But there's definitely a twist at the end there.
It's complex. It's not. Yeah.
How is
it?
Light, fresh.
There's some honey which I always find in Highland Park some honey notes.
Definitely honey. Long finish. Kind of lingers but drifts away elegantly.
Elegant, yes. It sounds weird, but it's definitely what you say.
It doesn't dissolve into nothingness. It kind of just fades out, and it's very light. I think this is a whiskey that I could quite happily have on a hot day. You know, you don't typically think about whiskey on a hot day.
Yeah.
I think like an evening on a hot summer's day, that would be really pleasant. It's not a hot day right now.
It would also be pleasant on a cold day.
It is. It is. But That's a nice
They do
price.
say some things here. The nose starts with toffee brittle and salty sea breeze, which becomes salted caramel and menthol.
Yeah, definitely. The freshness of the menthol definitely got that.
You
The
got
caramel and what?
Yeah, we said
hardly.
they said very well.
Yeah.
Then a fresh cut wood note comes through.
Yeah.
The taste is rolling salt sea breeze and chili spices. Then comes earthy peat.
Yeah.
The finish starts with a waxy dryness. Then spice and soft peat, according to them.
It definitely got that roller coaster kind of. Perhaps the soft peat at the end is that.
I need to look for it now that I've read about it. The fact that it's
I'm not sure.
earthy peat first and soft peat in the
I'm
end.
not sure the spices. I'm not sure what spices there are, but it is pleasant. Really,
It rolls off the tongue. It's
probably one of the most elegant ones I've tried that wasn't super rich in character. This is more light, freshly, very, very elegant.
I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, but the pressure's on the next time for me to pick something. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm going to try it. So the next episode, did we actually decide what we're doing? Next episode.
We were talking about it earlier.
We talked about it, yeah.
I forgot. Did you? No.
We didn't actually decide on which one. So let's pick one now. Let's put ourselves in the hot seat. You want to pick one or shall I pick one?
Go ahead, pick one.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on from the single malt episode and the peat and who is peat episode, and let's do fermentation and distillation.
Yeah.
Or should I say distillation and fermentation?
No, we should say fermentation.
Fermentation. That's why you should tune into the next episode. I can be corrected accordingly. If you have any questions, comments, corrections, feel free to let us know. It's meant to be a discussion. It's not meant to be an education. Like all whiskey drinking should be. Contemplative.
You should drink responsibly. Do we have to say that?
I'm not saying anything, I mean.
Well, drinking in moderation. There's nothing wrong with
Wasn't time, right? If you like it, heart, subscribe, bell, thumbs up,
all the buttons.
Also, we've got a sister account, Whiskey in Shadows, that is my dodgy whiskey photography and even dodgier tasting notes. And remember, Miko knows. See you next time.
See you.